It's 8:15 a.m. on Monday. There is an entire bag of Cheetos on the floor. I do not know where Dylan is. 2 people are crying. Fellow Toastmasters, random audience members of the interwebs, my students call me Miss Berger, but you can call me Sarah. And despite what that short dialogue may have led you to believe, I teach high school. How many of you wish that you got to spend all day, every day, with 167 16-year-olds? No? Does that not appeal to you? Well, you're not alone. It turns out teenagers, universally terrifying. And I think that there's a variety of reasons for that. One, maybe it's that dead fish look in their eyes. That so silently and succinctly conveys that they have seen a better version of literally anything you can say or do. Perhaps being around teenagers reminds you of the emotional roller coaster of your own teenage years. But I think the main reason is that adults follow this kind of agreed upon code of conduct. You'll meet your occasional rude and dismissive individual, but for the most part, adults know how to treat other adults. For example, let's say you're at a particularly bad meeting. The worst thing you're going to do is you're going to lean over, whisper something sassy to your coworker. But you're not about to take out your pen and chuck it at Stacy from an accounting in attempts to derail the presenter. Not so with high schoolers. Not only will they do whatever comes to their mind, but they will also say whatever comes up. I have literally never been so bored. Where did you get your teaching credential? I have little to no understanding of why you're here. This is your job. Be better at it. Wow. Oh, it's my job to take all of that and redirect it in a way that allows me to build a positive community where we can get things done in my classroom. And when I first started teaching, which despite the fact that I look like I'm 12, was several years ago, I was told that the best way to accomplish a functioning classroom was to play hardball. I'm going to come in, I'm going to sit down, I'm not going to smile till Christmas, nobody is going to mess around. It is my way or the highway. It turned out that didn't really work for me because that's not at all who I am. My students know me as a cinnamon roll. I have exactly 0 hard edges, and I truly believe I can solve all problems by just wrapping them in the gooey center of my love. But teenagers are people, and they're not always having the best day. And unlike adult people, they don't always know the best way to communicate the fact that their day is not going so well. So what I found was when I started to get angry or defensive about their behavior, it only got worse. And so I decided, let's try some humor. So let's run through some scenarios that I encounter every day in my classroom. 1, teenagers love to be confrontational. So sometimes they'll say things just to get a rise out of you. I did not know we had a test today. This is bull. Well, I did not know that those little Chinese takeout boxes unfold into plates. So we've both been cheated. Ugh, I hate school. Noted. But have you ever wondered what it would be like to have chameleon hands? Miss Berger, my mom called and she needs you to change my grade to a B. Stacy, in this economy? The other thing that I typically see is that teenagers get embarrassed more easily than the rest of us, and they try to do a lot of things to save face. So this one is my specialty because I am incredible at being the most embarrassing person in the room. It just makes everybody else more comfortable. So I'll just give you one example of this one. let's say the worst thing that could ever happen to you happens, and you sneeze, and a big old booger just shoots right out, right? That's mortifying. Nobody likes that. Well, don't you worry. I'm going to swoop in, and I'm going to tell the entire class about the one time I had a sinus infection, and I thought it would be a good idea to use a neti pot. So, you know, you got the neti pot. It's the little, like, teapot. You know, like, pour it into your sinus cavities, and it's supposed to, like, dribble out the other side. Well, this second step, this coming out of my sinuses step, did not happen. So my sinuses filled up with an incredible amount of water, and there was so much pressure in my face that I couldn't even close my mouth. My teeth hurt. But being the incredible dedicated teacher that I am, I obviously went to school the next day anyway. So here I am writing on the board with my incredible face pressure, and I feel a sneeze coming along. And I think, oh, well, what's the worst that could happen? Turns out pretty bad. I sneeze literally a cup and a half of just liquid booger solution just all over the front of my shirt. An incredible day in education, but also you better believe that was first period, and I taught the rest of the day in that booger shirt, loud and proud. So there you go. You can't be embarrassed about your tiny booger when you've got a booger shirt teacher. Now, maybe you're not a high school teacher, so you think, how is this relevant to me? Well, these strategies work for people in your everyday life as well. So if you have someone who's in kind of a negative downward spiral, catch them off guard with your response. Just say something ridiculous that brings them out of it. Or maybe you have someone who's shy and they don't want to engage in your team, or they don't want to give somebody feedback. Well, you can make them more comfortable by sharing stories of your own stumbles, fails, trip-ups, anything that goes wrong, to make them realize that we're all making mistakes and we're all growing together. So, Toastmasters, I teach chemistry, and let me tell you, chemistry is not always just about the chemicals.